Are you second guessing everything? You make a decision that felt right, but then not too long after that, you just start to go back and forth in your head. You start to question everything. You think of all the variables, all the possible outcomes as to what can go wrong. And then it just leaves you completely confused, possibly even changing the decision to only change it back later. And overall, you just find that you're in this chaos and it drains your energy. I know that because anytime I've ever second guessed anything, the process of going back and forth absolutely drains your battery and you have nothing left. So today I want to talk about why are some of the reasons why this happens, and then if we can get to a more deeper reason, then we can really tap into a solution. So for those that are my returning viewers, welcome back. I am always grateful to have you here. It brings me such pleasure to see you guys in the comment section and to see the regular viewers of my channel. So I'm very grateful for you. And if I can ask for a favor, if you find the content I provide and the work I do resonating with you and you're connecting to it, hit the subscribe button, like the video, share, and then comment. This so we can really get a good lift, get some good altitude as a new channel, trying to make it out in the world and to share this content with as many people who need it as possible. And then for the new viewers watching this, my name is Estevan, and I help guide and mentor individuals rediscover who they truly are by peeling back the stories that control our lives and to break the repeated patterns of our life that cause us to feel stuck in anxiety, stress, abandonment, self-sabotage, fears, and then move towards a more authentic, true, aligned sense of self, full of clarity, direction, and purpose. What are some of the reasons now we can get into why we second guess these things? Now, from a surface level, we just feel that maybe we're just trying to make the right decision. I just want to make sure I made the right call. I don't want to waste time. I don't want to waste anyone else's time. But if we really sit and we try to dig layers below, the first layer you might come to is perhaps there's a fear. And the fear is that if I make the wrong decision, then I'm a failure. Now, if, let's say, as an example, that's the case, well, why would you think that in particular, that I'll be a failure? Well, because for my whole life, I've had this repeated dialogue in my head that keeps repeating that I'm a failure, that keeps repeating that I'm not good for anything, I'm not able to do anything. And so then we got to ask ourselves, and this is, by the way, a practice you can do for your own situation. Well, then, okay, let's keep digging down. Where did that story come from? Where did that narrative come from? Well, the quickest way to get to it is to first pay attention to the emotion you feel. When you're in the midst of that confusion, when you're second guessing and everything feels like chaos, process and focus in the moment. What emotion are you feeling? Are you feeling fear, stress, anxiety? What is it? When you can pin the emotion, you can start to trail down and follow its breadcrumbs. It's not a straight line, unfortunately. It's scattered about, but you can follow it. And it always will follow. You have the emotion. The emotion leads down into a complex. What's the complex? Complex is a emotional knot filled with memories and stories and trauma and pain. And you can have multiple ones. You can have multiple. There's no one single. There'll be one predominant one, perhaps, but for the most part, all of us have more than one complex. And once you find the complex, and let's say you think, well, why do I always assume that I'm going to be a failure? Where does that voice come from? And then you can trail it back to the most recent memory you can remember, which is when you were young and let's say 10 years old, 11 years old, you brought home your projects from school and you presented it to your mom or your dad, and you never got any validation for it. And not even a congratulations on the effort. You didn't even get that. You didn't even get a participation trophy. All you got was, wow, what is that? What is this? I don't even understand what this is. No, I don't like it. No, I don't like it. If you keep that up, guess what's going to happen? Boom. once you can pin the story, you can pin the most recent memory to your childhood of what happened when you were young and your dad said this and your mom said this. And what happens is that story imprints, it sticks to you. And then once it sticks to you as the complex, then the voices start to emerge over time and you carry with you that story for years and years and years. Now, by the way, there's different versions of this, not just you second guess because you're afraid of failing. It can be very akin to you don't want to make the wrong decision in fear that you're going to feel embarrassed, that you're going to feel shame. It's different than fear. Fear kind of gets involved in that, but it's not so direct. But it could be multiple variations, but you have to remember the dig down process, because understand that unless you get to the base of that narrative, nothing will change. No matter what you say to yourself, no matter what new practices you add in your life, unless you know what is controlling you, what is dictating your thoughts, your actions, your desires, your fears, you'll never actually manage it. And now remember something. You can't get rid of it. You can't just make it go away, because essentially I like to think of it as, when you get, let's say you experience some trauma, whether it's mild, whether it's repeated, you get a cut. That cut is an open wound. If you don't allow it to heal, it stays an open wound. And then anytime someone touches it, anytime you make a call that you feel internally, you go, this is the right decision. But then because of that open wound, that was old memories of, if I get this wrong, I'm going to feel embarrassed. I'm going to be rejected by my peers, rejected by my family. Whatever the narrative is, that's going to hit it. It's going to activate, and it's going to sting, and it's going to hurt. It's going to make you react. But even if we heal it through self-acceptance, through visualization, through sitting and managing the emotions of when we have those memories come up, you can heal it, but it's still going to remain a scar. But now it's different. Now the scar is just a chapter in your book, in your life's book. And overall, in the grand scheme, it's going to add to your life. It's going to bring something of value to you so that then you can pass on to somebody else, which is going to be a super powerful way to make use of pain. Is that the pain you have received not wanting it, of course. No one wants pain, but that's just life. And then as you acquire it, creates an open wound. That open wound can heal. And then once you heal, it can turn to a scar. And then once it's a scar, then you can now pass on the information to the next person. But let's kind of go back to the main topic. Now, what can you do today? What can you do today to reduce this second guessing effect? You're not going to like the answer because you're probably going, I already knew that. I want you to start small. We don't need to do this practice on something major, like buying a house or changing careers. Start with something small. And I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but let's say if you're someone who's a chronic second guesser, you can go to the grocery store, stand in the aisle, and get lost in your mind in terms of what ketchup flavor to get. I don't know. Whatever it is. There's something that you want, and there's a couple options there, and you might go, oh, well, if I get this, what if I don't like it, and I don't want to return it? I want you to practice small. So pick something like as simple as that, and don't worry about how you feel. Don't worry if you think it's ridiculous. Don't share with other people. Just, this is private to you. This is your own journey. Head into the grocery store, pick the option. When you get that feeling internally, you want to really tune in. You have a gut instinct. You have that intuition. This is thousands of years old. It has a much wider and deeper awareness of the world around you. Your ego and your conscious mind is a very narrow, very focused channel. It's very powerful when you aim it, but it doesn't really have good peripheral. But your intuition does. It factors in details. Your unconscious, which is, again, it's part of the unconscious, is expansive and deep, and it's larger than we can ever even imagine. And so if you're there and you get a feeling towards, you know what, I think I'm going to just go ahead with the standard flavor. Make the call. You purchase it, turn it into action, ground it, place it in your shopping cart, and off you go. When the thoughts come in of, well, what if I could do this? All I want you to do is just observe those thoughts. Because remember, you're experiencing those thoughts. You aren't those thoughts. So experience it with your inner eye. So you have so I call the inner self the outer self. Outer self is the performance we play, the person we show to other people. The inner self is reserved to you. Now, you may have a good relationship with the inner self or a bad relationship with your inner self. Either way, it's the part that you only know. The part where the rational feels rational. And it's with the inner self. You observe the outer self experience all these thoughts coming into play, all these images, all the emotions. By the way, the emotions are going to kick in. So when these emotions kick in, just allow yourself to feel it. Feel it, experience it, let it pass. Because I promise you, if you don't engage with it, what I say is engaging. So when you get an emotion that is linked to the narrative that we've been talking about earlier in the video. So if it's a narrative that starts to kick in, most important thing is don't engage with it. Meaning, don't grab the emotion and start linking it to a thought, linking it to images, and then letting that cycle. Because think of it as the more that loop spins, the more powerful the charge. And the more powerful the charge is going to give you impulses to change your mind, to change what you're doing. And so don't let that speed up. Don't let it gain charge. So once you feel it, just allow it to pass through. I promise you that when it comes in, if you engage, it's going to trap you. But if you allow it to flow, it will pass. Now, it may not pass right away. And one thing to understand, and this is with all the clients that I've worked with, and this is the same experience for myself. When you try to jump out of a frame that you've been in for a long time, the complex within you is going to do everything in its power to pull you back in. That emotional knot, that part of you that has built comfort within a particular frame, let's say second guessing, it's something you become used to and you're comfortable with in an uncomfortable way, if that makes sense. It's going to want you to come back in. It's not going to feel comfortable with you jumping out of a frame because it's unpredictable. It's uncharted territory. And for human beings, predictability is more important. And so we rather be predictably second guessing than not knowing what the heck we're going to do tomorrow, not knowing what we're becoming, what we're turning into. But I promise you, those are all just dialogue. And on the other end is going to be a part of you that you've always really known was there. And that's the whole point of this work and the work that I do. The irony is, you are the part of you that you desire is nowhere else but internally. It's not gone anywhere. It's not gone anywhere. It's just layered and layered behind all these stories, all these pains that then infiltrate our mind. And if we're made unaware of them, then they control everything we're doing. And so when this comes up, let it happen. And then over time, you practice that muscle over and over again. But you maintain it first with something you can manage. Going to the grocery store, picking a movie. Well, that one's a tough one. I know for me, if I sit and try to pick a movie from Netflix, it takes me freaking like 30 minutes sometimes. So I get that. I get that. But even then, that's a practice. Pick one category, pick 3 movies. Okay, I like this one, and I like that one. Okay, well, sit and just pick the one you feel is right for the moment. And when you get that intuition, you get that sense of deep knowledge that says, okay, pick this one. You pick and you stick with it. And what you're going to find also on top of everything is you're going to feel some deep sense of reward. Because it doesn't even truly matter if it was right or wrong. It was the fact that you're exercising that muscle, that intuitive muscle. And as you exercise that muscle, it's going to get stronger and it's going to get stronger and you're going to trust it more. And it's just building a stepping stone. And I know we want to go from where we are now to being able to make the right decision about a house, about a career, about a family, about a marriage, but we can't just jump the scale like this. And so you want to micro to macro. I always say it, micro to macro, the small changes that lead to big changes. Implement that, make a difference in your life. Just stay consistent, be patient. And of course, if you have any questions, you can always comment below. I answer all the questions, in the comment section below. And of course, if you want to see more videos, you can click here or here. Or if you want to be a part of my community in a deeper way, I got links down below. And as always, thank you very much. And I'll see you on the next video.